Hello and welcome here in Berlin. We are in front of our showroom and we have a very, very special guest today. And then there she comes, I can see her. Well, it's going to be about an event. It's going to be very special. It's going to take a lot of explaining to do. But first of all, meet Annelisa. And she's carrying something particular, something squarey. Hi, Annelisa.
Hi.
So let me mic you up. This is on. Yeah. And then I'll follow you inside. Ooh. Perfect. So this is a painting. We can see that. And yes. So we have an amazing picture with boots. I can see that. And, I deduct from that you are the artist.
That would be correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah? I mean, the mic should be more over here, maybe?
All right, how about that?
I think yeah.
Maybe if we put it,
Oh, you can also put it there, yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, that's perfect.
I think that should be better.
That's great. So you're wearing as well great boots.
So these are the same boots as you
These
can
are the
see in
same boots.
picture.
Okay,
And I think there's actually another pair right there behind us too.
Ah, yeah, that's our model 560, and you bought them here.
Yes,
So-
I did.
So Annelisa is one of my favorite customers, I have to say, and she revealed later that she is an artist and she really likes the boots. And then she sent me, and also gloves as well. You also
Yeah.
bought gloves from us, and then yeah, you revealed that you're an artist and you sent me a picture. Is that right? That's how it started.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So. There's so much to know about you. I don't know where to start. So you're an artist. Let's put it this way.
Yes,
Let's
that's right.
start
I'm a
with
painter.
this. And let me give you a chair. I think that's so. And then I think we can do a proper interview with you next to your painting. This is really. And I'm sitting as well.
All right,
this is
perfect.
great. So by the way, yeah, I'm also wearing Fernando tonight. So this is a very interesting picture. This is what would you call it? Is this how do you call this? Stillleben.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like a bit of a still life. So as you can see, nobody is wearing these. They're kind of like laid out on the ground. If you look at the larger scene that it was based on, they're kind of like spilling out of the closet. So I was also sort of thinking about the closet as this intimate space that houses all of these items. That's kind of like an expression of ourselves as humans. It's like this kind of secret space, but it's also full of life. Like these objects sort of have a life of their own, even when they're not being worn. And I think that's really interesting.
So you can tell that it's really a lot of thought process went into that. So I deduct from this you are a professional artist. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And how did that come about? Like how did you become an artist, professional artist, so to speak?
So in terms of my interest in art, I think I was always really interested in creativity, but a lot of my interest in painting kind of came from an observation of the ecosystem and the world around me. And I think also kind of an interest in expressing human psychology. And I ended up studying painting. I studied painting at Yale in the US. And then after I graduated, I moved to Berlin in 2016. And I did leave for a couple years in between. But
did you also study here in Berlin? Or
I did a program at UDK for like a month. But I wouldn't really say that I studied full-time in Berlin or anything.
Okay. So yeah, 1 month at UDK, I think that's like the average length there. I don't know. Interesting. And yeah. And where are you from?
I'm originally from Arizona in the US.
So I know a little bit about you. So you told me before that you also are interested in landscapes and in desert landscapes. This is, of course, your surroundings. But what do you think? Is there any connection between the boots and then the landscapes, or what is it? Or is that just two different things you like, or is this all connected somehow? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think all of these things are very connected to having a very intimate relationship to my environment. One characteristic that I think also really affected my life is that a lot of people in my family have this tendency to obsessively collect objects. Like I grew up in a household that's like very messy and sort of like full of objects, and some of them natural objects, some of them other things. But I think there's this way in which objects that people interact with can have this very intense emotional weight where they can sort of like symbolize joy, but they can also symbolize this kind of like protection from fear, or this sort of like, I don't know. I feel like there's all sorts of different impulses that can influence it. But I think I'm also influenced by this same mentality of like feeling a very strong emotional and psychological connection to these like objects around me. And when I was a little kid, I was taught to learn a lot about like rocks and the environment. And I mean, I was very obsessed with birds. I used to really want to be an ornithologist. And I was very inspired by the way that birds have all of this like plumage and rituals in the way that they present themselves to each other. And it's sort of like their courtship and their way of building nests and like collecting all of these different things for them. And I feel for me, there's some sort of connection there where I became very interested in the way that humans do that same thing. And I found myself naturally creating these costumes for myself and for my dolls. And I do think actually I was always really interested in boots as well, but I didn't consciously think about it that way until later.
Yeah, I just had to... And when you said ornithologist, there's a running joke within the Fernando Berlin company, because we do get sometimes, this is just a random joke right now, really. We do get these emails, and sometimes from French people, and then they translate with like Google Translate or something. And the word for over the knee boots is then, the French word cuissard is then very often translated into mudflat birds. For some reason, because it's French is the same name. Yeah, it's the same name. So when someone says, in German it would be Wattvögel, when someone's like, yeah, I would like to purchase these mudflat birds, we know, we know what he wants. Anyway, that's a very random connection. Just yeah, let's forget about that. But yeah, so yeah, maybe we're gonna talk about what we want to do here on October 17th. So on October 17th, we will have a vernissage. So where you will present your art, and they will they all be in that style, or do you think there's going to be some other stuff as well? Or do you think it's going to be?
So I want to make sure that they all feel cohesive as a set. But I think I view this one as incomplete for sure. I think I want to go into a little bit more detail and really capture the light and shadow even more than we see here. And I mean, I think we can all agree that there's something really particular about the texture of leather and the way that it reflects light and shadow. And it has this certain type of energy to it. And I feel like I'm starting to get there with this, but I still feel like I could go even more in that direction by really spending some time like developing all of the little details and contours. And I mean, luckily I have the actual models that I can use for it. And that's actually one of the things that I'm trying to figure out in the long term. I feel like when you can put something down on the ground and work from life, I do feel like there's this way in which you can really capture the very small details of it. But it's also a bit limiting. Like if I want to take an image of myself in a certain pose, then naturally it's quite difficult to do that and paint at the same time. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to figure out for the rest of the exhibition.
So it's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I'm so excited. So October 17th, I'm very excited for that date. We'll have the vernissage, and please everyone come here, have a look. buy a painting or two as well, of course. Have a glass of bubbles with us, and yeah, to me it's always interesting. Like, you know, I'm a boot designer, and then suddenly, you know, this I do something I like, and it triggers something else somehow, and now we have this connection, and yeah. But as you said, there's something about leather, there's something about boots that makes them exciting, and yeah, what do you think it is?
I mean, that's an interesting question, because I feel like there's sort of this interesting combination of like, there is this sort of adult sexual power to these types of articles of clothing, but in other ways, I feel like there's something very primal about it. Like when you're a little kid and you first try on a pair of like high-heeled shoes or something like that, I think you really somehow feel like you become another character in this very powerful way. And like when I was a little kid, I had this pair of red cowboy boots that I would wear all the time. I mean, I guess maybe I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I would spend so much time running around outside in these and like climbing up and down hills and stuff. And I just feel like at the time it gave me this sort of like particular sense of power and adventure when I was wearing them. And I mean, obviously you're always like looking down at them when you're looking at the ground, so they also connect you to the earth, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think I never thought really about this. Like the rest of your clothing, you can't really see yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think shoes are the only
That's
things
a big part of it.
That the only part of your outfit that you can really see, because your eyes are far away. I mean, you can't, otherwise you can only see yourself in the mirror, but yeah. But you always, you see your shoes all the time. Never thought about that. And I've been thinking about shoes a lot.
Like they're more for yourself than a lot of other articles of clothing are.
Yeah.
And I think there's something interesting about that.
So yeah, and what you said with the character, yeah, I remember when I was a kid, like I had, like when I get some new sneakers, you know, or some tennis shoes, whatever, I was really convinced I could run faster. I think I could. But yeah, but I think as well, what you said in fashion is always, there's this famous German book. It's called Who Am I and How Many?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, wer bin ich, ja, wie viele? I think that's the origin. I think that's like the whole. But I think it's about this thing that, you know, we are more than one person, and we are more. We have, every character has different sides. Like we have different sides, and which goes, I think, a bit against this when people say just be yourself. Yeah, but who you know, I'm a complex personality. You know, everyone is usually. So there's not like this one outfit. This is you. There's only this is also you, and with fashion you can bring these characters out. It's like a ritual. You put on some clothes, but it really brings out the certain facets of your own character, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think these types of costumes really do that. I mean, ever since I came to Berlin, I've always been very captivated by this world of kind of like Berlin clubs and the types of styles people wear in them, because sort of like you say, it's like it allows for the opportunity to become these other characters. And I felt like for me, that was very liberating, the ability to sort of like become these versions of myself that I could explore through these kind of like fantasy characters that were still extensions of myself in these environments where all these other people are doing the same thing. And I think there's something very beautiful about having the chance to do that.
Yeah, and when you change your environment and everything. Yeah, I mean, I have these conversations quite every day with customers, and then, you know, for example, the boots that you're wearing right now, you know, for example, and they say, I could never wear that to work. You're not supposed to wear that at work. This is not for this occasion. You know, always think about occasions. Where can I wear it? How would I like to wear it? And sometimes it's you buy the pair of boots and then you say, okay, these boots will take me to the occasions where I can wear them. So you start also then changing, like, okay, I could go to this event. I could go to this event where I could wear them. And it kind of goes from there. So, yeah, this is, as I said, it's occasions, it's who you also are. I think a lot of people are quite, or we all are quite captivated by some major role, like can be at your job, like if you're not like me or not like, if you have a regular job, like a real job, you play a role. Mm-hmm. Like you go, let's say you work in a bank and you put on your suit or whatever, your pantsuit, you're playing a role, and you always look very serious and very dependable, and have to have that serious to yourself, even though you yourself, that you maybe even at home you're a very messy person or whatever, but you can't show this. You only show this very, very one side of yourself, or you're a mom, for example, or a dad. This can also be a very overwhelming role, but as I said, everyone has different facets to their character. Everyone has their own lives, their own things that they like, and you have to find the occasions to let them out from time to time. Let them run wild definitely. From time to time. It's a healthy thing to do.
I agree. And I mean, I think it's nice to have ways of expressing yourself that are more about focusing on your self-expression and your own kind of like inner fantasy world, rather than the primary need to be like just, like your work character or the character that you present in these more sort of like responsible situations.
Yeah, but maybe we can come back. I'm going to show a little bit as well, the picture a little bit closer. You can really see this is model 560 here. But what is it that really fascinates you? What do you think about? Is it the material, the shapes?
So
and we talked about like how you slip into different roles. But maybe we can talk a bit more personally. Like, what kind of role do you play now?
Well, I mean, I feel like these types of shoes really express like a certain type of feminine power to them, and I'm really interested in thinking about why that's the case. It's like you're certainly not exposing as much skin as possible. You're actually like adding something, which is a sculptural object, which has this kind of like symbolic expression to it. And I really like this style in particular because I just think that there's something about like the shape of, I think I remember you in a video talking about these where like you specifically designed it to have this like more space in between here. And I think there's something really elegant about this shape, like right there, and the way that it forms this particular type of curve and geometry to it. And also like the shape of the toe, how it also kind of tapers into this particular point. So as an artist, I feel really inspired by the way that these designs actually have so much subtlety to them. And if you compare them to the shapes of some other boot out there, they're actually extremely different in personality, in the same way that a person's face has its own kind of like particular personality to it. And in this way, it's like each one of them almost becomes a character which has its own personality to it. And I find it very inspiring to engage with objects in this way and sort of like think about how they make me feel.
Do you think boots are art?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say so. Because for me, this is design. Because for me, a good design, I always say, a good design is when the design does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like you have a certain idea what a design should do, and that can be many things, and if it does that well, then it's a good design. But it's more like this is me anyway. Like I don't design like I want to see something like this. I go to occasion, situations, outfits, places. And this is what really, really then excites me.
Yeah, definitely.
To design, but it's more like, as I said, it's more made for a purpose. Like for me, this is art, because art can more live by itself, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think you can even completely articulate why it's the case sometimes. It's also sort of like a feeling that you have. Like I felt a very strong feeling about these particular boots, just somehow because of the particular shape of them. And I can point to these particular reasons why, but I think it's also kind of like when you create a great painting or any kind of great work of design, it's sort of like the culmination of all of these things you learn throughout your life. But it's also something intangible that you can just like really feel when you get it right. And I think as artists and as designers, that's something that we're all looking for. So what I'm interested in with this exhibition is sort of like how to channel some of those feelings conceptually, and then try to think about how could it be part of like a larger scene or a larger atmosphere. Because I mean, one thing that we were talking about earlier is sort of like, where would you wear these, or like what would you do with them? And it's sort of like these objects are a part of a larger environment, and even though they exist as individual objects, first of all, they're an extension of a human being, so they're also these sort of like interactive art objects which have a connection to a particular person, and like maybe somebody else might feel a strong connection to some other pair of boots in this place. But it's also like, how do they become a part of an ecosystem? And I think in this way, it actually does link back a lot to some of these things I was interested in my childhood, where it's also about the way that each organism is linked with all of these other organisms. And I think that's one of the interesting things about the social environment of Berlin and some of these like types of events that you could wear these boots at. It's also a place where there's almost just like organisms interacting with each other and creating this sense of life and growth through their interaction and through what they produce together. And that's part of what I was trying to express here by bringing all of these plants and flowers and neon lights and sort of like combining them. And
I think you weighted it. I mean, you sent me some pictures that this is not just coming from your head. I mean, this is something you put together. You made it more or less an installation, so to speak, and then so you put the boots on the floor. You took, I think these are flowers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is part, and then you just painted the scene that you laid out, and the gloves, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to continue experimenting with that and like figuring out more ways to make them interact.
And then you put
it's also the lighting as well.
And then you actually do have like, when you're painting this, you were seeing this pink orangey light.
Yeah, so I have these two neon lights that I really love because they can change colors and turn into any color. And I really have been getting into using them to create these kind of like theatrical stagings. Because I also think like there's something about these boots that is like very theatrical. And I mean, anytime you start wearing something with high heels, say, it's like, it's not that practical anymore. It's more about the theatrical experience and like the expressive experience and creating this kind of like particular world that exists around it. And I really love the way that neon lights can be used to enhance that effect and really create this more moody, atmospheric atmosphere. So I'm really excited about that. And that's one of the things that I expect to focus on a lot in developing the larger series of paintings, is kind of like how to use neon lights in particular to sort of experiment with like the light and the shadow and like the silhouettes of these objects and how they can express something very different compared to like, say, this scene.
This scene, I really, it's very interesting. I really have a story now developing in my head. What I'm seeing now. So what I see now is, so this is like the morning after a party night out. You put the boots off, your gloves off. Maybe you had some flowers. You throw it on the floor. This is right next to your bed. And the sun is rising over Berlin and lights them up. This is what I see now. But this is like an after club situation a little bit going on, if you know what I mean. Like the remnants of a Berlin party night.
Yeah, that's a nice image. And I feel like that feels accurate to kind of like what I was thinking about, where it's like, it's this feeling of these things having been thrown off and like they're kind of like haphazard on the ground. And there's something very poetic about the way it expresses like a whole narrative which led to this point.
I have this thing, like if it's for myself, if I go out and I have a pair of course, my Fernando Berlin boots on, and I come home after a long night, I have this talent. I always make it to the bed, and then I throw up the clothes, and then I fall asleep right away. But always next morning when I wake up, I have the boots are laying in front of my bed, because I don't usually, I would take them off, you know, like a regular person in the hallway. But there's like, you just have this go, okay, bed, and then this is what I managed to take off usually, and then it looks like this a bit. Though I'm not most of the time I don't wear heels. I'm more the combat boot guy, but yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's something very like kind of like raw and intimate about that. And I definitely want to also make some paintings that are more like, you know, like boots on a human leg and more of like a position or something. Because like part of the reason why I did this was also because, you know, like if I'm doing it myself, it's a bit hard to like, I also made another painting, which was like myself sitting on the couch with the boots like this and painting them. And I do like it, but it's just like, it's a little bit harder to come up with different poses where you can do the image of yourself. So that's something I'm going to keep experimenting with. But I really like the way you described this, because I was also thinking that like, there's something very relatable and intimate about sort of like these objects strewn on the ground in this kind of like crazy way. Like they've been out on an adventure and now it's like, they're almost like these like animals or something sleeping at the foot of the bed in their own little world down there.
It's absolutely. No, I like that. I like that. So, but it's, you know, talking about being inspired by boots, maybe we'll find some other boots that could inspire you. I think I'm trying to do this regular thing that when I have someone here in the vlog to pick out three pairs of boots to try.
All right. Can't complain about that.
So we're going to do that now, and then maybe you can tell me a bit what you think about these boots and what fascinates you about the boots. I think that's what we should do next.
All right, sounds perfect.
All right, then let's pick out some boots. So
I think I'm going to go with these ones. I really like this lace-up construction.
Oh, this is a classic.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something so classic about this. And
yeah, this is something I would call this is a classic.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like a true perennial classic. Boot,
it's like, to be honest,
Victorian dominatrix or something, like classic style.
Yeah, with the D rings. This is basically it's like design-wise, it's something I have to say after I didn't like design myself. This design has been around for at least 100 years. I mean, I've seen pictures from the 20s where people were wearing something like this. But everything I could see, but what you could buy was this style, but in very bad quality. And I just want to have this style in very high quality with very good leather.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like this is like the type of classic style that it's really nice to have. I think the laces, in addition to just being visually interesting, I think it's also nice how they convey this like sense of tension that is unique in that way, because it's like just seeing the strings and the fact that they're pulled tight conveys more of a sense of tension than the exact same thing without them. And there's this like
what size are those?
Can you
look?
Like that's size 40.
So that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. We should try. Then we try those. I'm going to help you with that. Let me maybe set up the camera on the floor. So yeah, I think. Yeah, wait. Don't kind of do it like this. They're a bit wide for you, I think, but.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this top area, it's like even if I tighten it, it's not going to be.
I mean, you shouldn't. I don't like it too much when they're like super tight. Like when these go edge on edge, they should always ideally. Yeah, there should always be a little gap.
Because it's nice when there's this X shape. I think that's really what makes it beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, they're very high. They're 12 centimeters, and a bit wide. So yeah, you would need them made to measure. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely really like them, though. There's something really cool about just like this really long area of laces going all the way down. It's classic.
So are you someone else now?
Yeah, I mean, I like this one because it has this kind of like classic vintage feeling to it.
Yeah.
And therefore it makes me feel more like some kind of character from that, you know, like I really like that like 1920s fetish photography era. And these ones kind of like remind me of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think at that time they wouldn't have it. They also had some pointy stuff, but usually they're a bit more round stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think it's basically, I know a guy, he's a customer of mine as well. I think he's really into like a hobby historian when it comes to boots and the 20s and everything vintage. And I think he did some research about like, you know, there were the shoemakers back in the 20s in Berlin, they were making boots like this, you know, for the customers. custom stuff. That was a very common thing. The boot has always been an object of desire, so to speak.
Yeah, well, these ones in particular really have a feeling that evokes that. It would be cool to see some sort of exhibition with. I mean, I'm sure there must be some old versions of those around that you could look at.
There is some, but I've been there. I think there's this fashion museum here in Berlin, or was it just an exhibition of fashion? I'm not really sure.
I'm surprised there's not more stuff like that in Berlin.
Near Potsdamer Platz, there was one. I forgot the name. Anyway, I'll find out later. But they didn't have very exciting boots that I would have remembered. So that I would have remembered. All right. But how are you are you comfortable enough in walking them?
I actually feel like these are somehow easier to walk in than those other ones that I had.
Really? You think?
Maybe. I mean, I guess I'd have to try walking them for a while to see how I feel, but I think it's because like they feel a bit like stiffer, maybe.
Oh. So. All right. But I'd say next boots, huh?
Yes. So I think I might go with these ones for the next boots.
These ones.
Yes.
Of course, the American girl wants the cowboy boots.
Let's see what size these are. 39. Hopefully they should fit then.
I think those should fit. So.
Wear size 39, so I think these are actually better for me than the other ones.
I think I think they're also a bit big for you, the 14.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Sorry. There you are. No, but I did, talking about the lacing boots, I had just a customer yesterday again, and he said he wanted to have some lace-up boots, but without zipper. And I said, well, it's going to take forever to put them on and off. He said, and then he kind of said, you're so close to understanding it. That's the point. So,
yeah, definitely. Because like, part of the reason why people wear these, I think, or at least myself, is like I really enjoy the ritual of just like dressing up in costumes, taking them off, and like doing all these different lacing and things like that. To me, it's a really interesting artistic experience, and is like kind of a meditative experience.
Yes.
So I absolutely love these. I definitely think like my next pair of boots for my boot collection from here will be these ones for sure.
I think it is. First of all, it's to me very obvious. You were talking about your red cowboy boots that you loved as a child. Yeah. So this is an homage to that.
Yeah. Well, what I love about
it's an American. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're deeply rooted in American culture. Not just in not U.S. American culture, but I think in general. I think you wear this also in Mexico and in Central America, and so I think everywhere where you have cowboys basically, because I think the cowboy boot shape, they're pointy, so you can get into the, how do you call these things that you have below the saddle where you put your feet in English?
Stirrups.
Stirrups, yeah. Yeah. So you get them into the stirrups very easily. That's what they're made for. That's why they're so pointy and, and they just have been.
Well, what I really love about these too is like.
But tell me what you connect.
Totally. So, like I was telling you before, I do think I've just always had a strong connection to cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Maybe because of these ones that I had, or I mean, I wouldn't really describe my lifestyle growing up as like some sort of like Wild West film or anything like that. But I do like the way that these boots feel very evocative of these like American Western landscapes, which I feel are like very spiritually meaningful to me and like really have a big influence on who I am as a person. Yes. And I feel like this particular shape to me evokes this kind of like freedom and adventure and like running around in nature, but it also has this kind of like darkness and power to it. And I have never seen a pair of boots like this that was over the knee boots in this style though. Yeah. And I just think that that's really cool. And it's a really interesting and creative idea because it's sort of combining this more like classic over the knee boot style with this more like traditional American cowboy boot style. And I mean, I have never seen that before other than these boots. But when I saw it, I was just like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I really want to have these someday.
Yeah. So I would like to know if the cowboy boot as we know it, if it comes from America, or maybe it was invented somewhere else,
I mean,
and then
it could also be
adopted.
from like Mexico or something.
Yeah, or maybe from. Sometimes it's
You could be
strange.
surprised.
Like you have because, for example, yeah, I'm in Portugal a lot, and the Portuguese, they have their azulejos, like the blue tiles, the blue painted tiles. They're everywhere,
Yeah.
and that's like their national symbol. They never produced them in Portugal. They're all imported from the Netherlands. So it's very weird. And there's in the town where we produce, near Porto, well, like our factory is right between Santa Maria de Feira and São João de Madeira. And in São João, they have a hat museum. And you would say hats, yeah, that's a. Nowadays, this is just some kind of fashion item that some people have, but most people don't wear hats anymore. But hats used to be a huge business. So and São João de Madeira was one of the world centers of hat production.
That's interesting.
And
really like hats too.
And there I learned that almost every sombrero that Mexicans were wearing, they were produced there. So they came from there. They did not come from Mexico, but they were really made popular in Mexico. And they were like the biggest market for them. But, and their national symbol, of course, for Mexico. So maybe something like this happened with I don't know, cowboy boots.
I mean, I
don't
imagine
know actually where was it. I do not know. Maybe someone can comment that here.
I don't know. You could imagine them being related to like Spain or something.
Could be.
But I just really love the way that this style is like this kind of like interpretation of the cowboy boot style in this particular type of way. And I think there's something to me about cowboy boots that has this kind of like fun feeling to it. Yeah. It just like naturally creates a sense of fun and I think like a bit of a sense of adventure. And that's just something that I really love. So yeah, I absolutely love these. I think that's just such a cool idea. And they're also very comfortable, I would say. I think they're much easier to like, if you were especially spending like the evening doing something, these I would say are much easier to walk in. Like I really feel like I can just walk in these without really thinking.
Yeah, you can.
And both of these pairs are much more like, you have to kind of like think carefully about how you're walking. But I like that these still have this nice high-heeled look, but in a way that I think is a bit more manageable in the long term. So yeah, I really love these. And I also love this kind of like patterning of the white embroidery. It's one of my favorite of your designs for sure.
Nice, like that. All right.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I really feel a strong connection to these ones as well. And it's interesting like what we were talking about, because I definitely feel like a different character in these compared to those.
You talk different, I feel.
Yeah, well, I just feel like, I feel like it's like the type of character that you play when you're wearing these is just like a bit different. But I mean, I really like this character. Like, I just feel like it suits me as a person.
Yes. Oh, it does. They all suit you, but it's true.
Yeah. I mean, they all do. Yeah. But these ones in particular, I saw them and I was like, wow, what an idea. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, and also like, sometimes you can play with that a little bit. Like if someone does not know you, like depending on what you're wearing, this is how they see you the first time. This is the first impression of you. And of course, like in the boots you came in, I think because they look very they're classy, they're elegant. They look for me, very sophisticated. Mm-hmm. Like even in a way, where I say, okay, she's probably maybe even, and maybe even a bit arrogant. I don't want to sound negative, but kind of like this.
What you mean,
but it's kind of like, yeah. So I maybe even, if I would see you, I probably would be too scared to talk to you. But if I see you in the cowboy boots, I think you are fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they definitely have this fun quality.
Yeah. This is all right, but perfect. So on to the next.
Yes. Because it's sort of like what you were talking about, definitely part of the reason why I got those first ones originally is I feel like if you're going to get one pair, they have this sort of like classic, versatile, like very just like simplistic type of elegance to them. Yes. And there's something really nice about that. But then there's also something nice about these more like specialty ones or ones that are a bit like weird or somehow have this kind of like a bit out there type of style. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Like I'm sort of torn between something like, I really like these ones. Yes. There's something really cool about this like wraparound style, or there's more of these like weird colorful ones, but I think I'm still kind of leaning towards maybe like these ones. Yeah, I've seen them on some of the kind of like fashion show type of looks that I've seen you post online. And I think that's what's cool about these. To me, they have this sort of like Berlin high fashion look to them.
Berlin high fashion.
I mean,
that sounds like an oxymoron to me. It's like Berlin high fashion is.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but I'm not exactly sure like how to.
It's like hot snow.
It's like what I mean is like there's these kind of like little details and studs and stuff like that. It has a bit more of that like clearly Berlin influenced aesthetic, but in this like slightly more dressed up type of way.
Yeah.
And
when I designed this, I had this. I saw, when I was very young, one time I saw a pair of shoes. It was like ankle boots. They had this. They were made like this, like with the. How do I say this? With these. Yeah. Should I say stripes? I'm not really sure how to call it, but they're they're kind of like stripes. They're all cut out. By the way, the production hates me for this because.
Is it hard to make these?
It's very difficult to make these because you have, first of all, they are all made in stripes, and then you just have a box full of stripes, and then they have to put numbers on them so they know where to put them and how to sew them together, right? Because it's like a puzzle. Every time you make them.
I can imagine that.
And this is Donna Rosa does not like me anymore.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine these.
No, she likes me. She's still afraid, but she's sometimes,
But like, I really like that style. There's something cool about all these like wrapping around things. It reminds me a bit of like mummies or something.
Yeah, and then I like this. I like. To me, it has this thing of a knight's armor.
Yeah, I can see that too.
So. Or like a Roman armor, like whenever they had introduced the breastplates, and then that on the shoulder in the later Roman period. Anyway.
I do feel like that definitely is a factor in what made me like them. Because these are interesting. Because I just like I'm coming up with these different ways to describe them, but it's like I don't even have exactly like one explanation. I just saw these and I was like, there's something really interesting about this design. Huh. It's like all of these little thin strips and the way that they're put together. Like I haven't really seen something like this before. That's another part of it. And I'm not completely sure. I like the way that these two are more like I feel a particular type of character and a particular type of energy from them. This one is a little bit more like yes, sure.
So summer chick.
Love those ones.
Yeah, but they really fit you well. I think they
definitely getting those ones next.
They should use the zipper on these. Yeah, but this you can put on easily. So it's not as tricky. So
nice. These ones definitely fit well.
Yeah, no, they are also one of my favorite pairs, I would say.
Yeah. What do you like about them?
They have this nice connection of they're very feminine, but still they have this strength in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, it's like armor, and they have the rivets. They're very feminine downstairs, like the shoe, but the rest is a bit aggressive, even.
Yeah.
Very dominant.
Yeah, I mean that's what I like about them. But I like that type of style, and they have this slightly like medieval feeling to them or something.
Yeah. And that I really, really like.
Like I feel like you could pull off some sort of like medieval queen type of look with this or something like that. But it's nice because it's not like completely limiting you just to that. I also think you could do something else with it. Like you could be like an alien or something. Yeah. There's all sorts of different things it could lend itself to depending on what outfit you put it with.
Yes.
But I like the way that it's communicating a sense of power, yet it's through these like delicate materials where it's actually made out of these, like little strips and there's these little pieces being held together. But somehow I feel like there is this sense of real power that comes from it. And I also think there's something about it that feels a bit like primordial. It's like when you think about like snakes or like fossils of all of these sort of like ancient organisms, they often tend to have these kind of like ribs or concentric shells on them. And I think there's something about this style that to me evokes that a little bit in a really interesting way.
Yes.
Like there's something that feels a little bit biological about it to me in the way that it's these different things linked across each other.
Yes.
And I actually think that's probably part of the connection to armor as well. Like armor, I imagine, was also sort of inspired by some of these like armored organisms and like, you know, like various like maybe, I don't know, insects or reptiles that have the same kind of coating on top of their bodies.
Maybe, yeah, but that would be, yeah.
But I mean that in a cool way. Like
I'd say the first inspiration was probably an arrow flying towards someone. So it's like, okay, I need some protection for that. Yeah, but there's always been, and you know, the first armor, you know, armor was also leather. Leather is also like the before they had really metal armor and chainmail. They were using mostly thick leather to protect themselves. So leather is also armor still, and can be also very effective.
But I do think there's some kind of armored feeling about this that I really like. It has this certain type of power to it. And I also think, I mean, my favorite shape of these boots is these kind of like pointy toe ones with this particular type of heel. And this one is also like that. I just think there's something very elegant about it. And of course, it really like tapers in a very beautiful way.
And it places, I mean, famously Marilyn Monroe said it, that the high heels are the weapons of a woman. So not meaning that in literally that hurting people with it, but just as a meaning of getting what you want. Would it be seductive? Maybe that's a strong word. But yeah, playing with this, like what you call nowadays the pretty privilege. You know, pretty people get everything, what they want, which is a bit true.
It's interesting how, I mean, even though it's immobilizing, there is this certain type of power that comes from it. And like, I don't feel like I can run away quickly when I'm wearing these, but I still feel powerful in another way. And it does give me like a sense of physical power. And I think what's cool about this particular pair is like, it feels like it's expressing that more because it has this a bit kind of armored quality to it.
Yeah.
So if you compare it to these ones, I feel like the cowboy boots have more of this feeling of like fun and adventure as their primary feeling, even though I do think they also have a sense of power. Whereas these ones feel a bit more like the power is the leading emotion that they convey.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's something really nice about that. Well, these are interesting because I feel like I was drawn to these intuitively, but after talking to you about them, I have much more of an idea of like why I like them. Yeah. I didn't really think about these things when I first saw them. I was just like...
That's the thing. I think like art or designs, the first initial is like, I just like it. I like it. But then you can explore yourself and then you ask, what do I like about it? And then understand a bit better. It's not necessary. You can just enjoy them as they are and you don't have to understand anything. But it's, it's like, you know, it's like learning any language, you know, you don't need a grammar book to see, you know, to understand how a language works, but it really, really helps.
Yeah.
The long way.
But I definitely think these have this sense of like power in a sort of medieval way that I find really cool. I mean, there's definitely something that feels kind of medieval about them, even though I don't think people at that time were really wearing anything like this.
Yeah. Okay. But maybe I think we should do like a last shot from you and the picture again, so we can remind people again.
Sounds good.
I mean, this vlog here is, I mean, the main focus is promoting your art and promoting your event. So what did we say? Vernissage?
Yeah.
October 17th here in Berlin at Bornholmer Straße 3, 10439 Berlin. So we are here in Prenzlauer Berg, right the corner to Schönhauser Allee, S-Bahnhof Schönhauser Allee. Anyway, so people have an idea where we are. And October 17th, so it's worth a trip to Berlin, I would say. You can really buy some amazing, unique art from an amazing, unique artist. And I'm really, really excited about it, and I can't really wait about the next pictures. This is the first time I see one of your paintings live, and the color composition is amazing. That just really pops out, and as I said, and the longer you look at the picture, you can really create a story, and it brings memories. So it's really, really, really nice. And of course, it has the boot focus, not to forget. And yeah, so October 17th, we're gonna have the vernissage. You will be here. People can get to know you. There will be, of course, there will be drinks. There will be other really, really cool people. And I think what I always like about our events here, and it's the kind of community feeling you always get, because there are lots of other people who just have a very special love for shoes and footwear and art, and you don't meet, like, no one is a stranger here. As soon as you talk to someone, you have something really in common. You become friends immediately, and you always have the feeling that you have known this person for a long time. This is so it's really worth it to come to Berlin, have a look at the art, have a glass or two, talk to us, talk to other people, talk to other guests, and then maybe if you really see something you enjoy, of course you can buy the painting directly from the artist. It's going to be an amazing and hopefully very long evening. And and if you don't like it, Berlin is big. There's always something to do in Berlin. So if you don't like our event, you can still do something more exciting. So, anything to add?
No, I mean, this was really nice to sort of try to get the personality of all these different boots from trying them on. So that was awesome, and I definitely want to use that to continue.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want to take a pair home just for inspiration reason, for painting reason.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a nice idea, because I definitely want to create at least like 4 or more other paintings like this that all sort of have their own like personality and narrative. I basically view this as just the beginning, because I mean, we still have a good amount of time until then. So I'm really excited to continue doing this, and I view this as just kind of like the beginning in a series of adventures of like continuing to discover the way that these boots can express all these different narratives and personalities, just like what we were talking about today. Yeah. I mean, it's just so cool how these objects can have so much life to them, and just really passionate about it.
All right, then. We see you all. Let me maybe turn around so we can, like this. So we are expecting you October 17th here in Berlin. Address, everything down below. Also, there's links down below to your Instagram, to your website. So if you want to see some more and read some more, and hype yourself up for a big event on October 17th. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.